What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. All right, it finally happened last night. The bipartisan infrastructure bill was passed by Congress after months of this topic being on the floor, and both parties could just not come to an agreement. I am glad that it happened on a Friday because it gives us the entire weekend to do some research and prepare for Monday and take a look at which companies are going to benefit most from this bill. So in this video, I want to take a look at exactly what is inside, and we're also going to go over about 6 or 7 stocks that I'm going to be investing in over the next few months. Let's get right into it. So here we have it. The bipartisan bill was finally passed Friday, late Friday, approving a signature part of President Joe Biden's economic agenda. Now let's take a look at exactly what is inside the infrastructure bill. There's $110 billion out of the $1.2 trillion for roads, bridges, and major infrastructure projects, $40 billion for bridge repair. They have $11 billion for transportation safety, $39 billion to modernize public transit, $66 billion in passenger and freight rail, $65 billion in improving the nation's broadband infrastructure, $17 billion in port infrastructure, $25 billion in airports, $7.5 billion for zero and low emission buses and ferries, aiming to deliver thousands of electric school buses. Another $7.5 billion would go towards building a nationwide network of plug-in electric vehicle chargers. Now, back in August, a lot of these companies had a little bit of a run-up as there was a lot of speculation of this bill getting passed. Since then, some of these stocks have sold off a little bit. So just remember that when we start to look at the charts in just a minute. $65 billion to rebuild the electrical grid, $55 billion to upgrade water infrastructure, $21 billion to clean up Superfund and brownfield sites. And like I said, guys, this is not everything. So as I just talked about in August, the little bit of a run up that had happened. So let's take a look at probably, this is on everybody's mind. This is one of my favorite stocks, is Chargepoint, and they provide EV charging stations throughout the country. As you can see back here, when this was first brought up, it had a massive run from about $21 all the way up to $36. And right now it hit a new low of $17.5 on the 180-day chart. And we are sitting at a pretty good area with a solid uptrend at just under $25. Now expect this stock to jump right out of the gate on Monday, because like I said, investors are going to be dumping into these plays, and whether they're going to be dollar cost averaging into long-term investments or they're just there to ride the news, squeeze a dollar or two out of it and move on to their merry way, Chargepoint is one I'm going to be looking at very, very closely. Now, if you've been following my channel for a long period of time, you know that I am a technical trader, and this chart setup I do like. We are not sitting at all-time highs. We have bounced off support, and we have turned to now being in a uptrend, and we still have room to run, which we are sitting about 42% off its recent highs of back in the end of June, giving us plenty of opportunity. Now, I do want to take a look into this a little bit closer and just explain to you my theories or my thesis and what are my procedures for how I'm going to be investing based off of this bill. So as you can see right here, $7.5 billion would go towards building a nationwide network of plug-in vehicles. And if you look at Chargepoint right now, it has a market cap of $8 billion. And another one I'm going to be investing in, which I'm sure you have all heard of, is going to be Blink. And Blink has even a lower market cap right now of $1.33 billion, meaning that $7.5 billion in the infrastructure bill could really, really benefit these companies. Not to mention, if you look at Chargepoint, they only had $146 million in revenue in 2021. So getting just a piece of this bill is going to be a substantial boost for this company. Something to keep in mind when you are going to be doing some research over the weekend and over the next coming weeks into companies that are going to be benefiting from this. Now, another company that I'm going to be investing into is United Rentals, because also coming from a contractor back when I was a teenager and working and building homes, A lot of companies use United Rentals to be able to rent lifts and just materials that get delivered to the job site, and it is a cost of doing business, and they don't want to buy their own booms and so forth. Now, if you look at the charts right now, this is sitting at a pretty good high. It has had a good run up from that $350 range. I expect also this one to have a boost for the next week or two. I'm going to wait for this one to come down a little bit. But when you think about United Rentals, this is a company that will benefit from the infrastructure package, but just how much? Because the company is already has a very good foundation. So it's a little bit different when it comes to Chargepoint. The next one I'm going to be investing in, which is another one that also has a good footprint, is Caterpillar. Now, Caterpillar had a nice run up to almost $250 and slowly began to pull back ever since about June of this year. It formed a little bit of a triple bottom right here, bouncing off this $190 support, and has slowly begun to uptrend moving forward. And they did recently have good earnings, and guidance, which is positive for the company going forward. And as you can see, we do have about 17 to 18% from its most recent highs. Next one I'm going to be investing in is Quanta Services. This is going to help with the electrical grid and the telecommunication. I'm also going to wait for this one to come down just a little bit, let some of the hype cool down a little bit, and then be able to find a good entry somewhere, hopefully around between that 110 and 115 range. Next one, which has been great, was going to be Cliffs Natural Resources. It's sitting at a pretty good price point of $22 right now. Another one is going to be United States Steel. All right, and lastly, if you are interested in just investing in an ETF, ticker symbol PAVE, this is the Global X Infrastructure Development ETF. This is another one that is a little bit overextended as of right now because it has had a pretty good run up from that $26 price point. It's also a little bit of a slow mover. So if you are one of the individuals that is just not very active when it comes to the day-to-day or even the week by week, but you want to be able to dollar cost average into something that will grow slowly over time, this one is going to be a good stock for you. Now, this is just a very, very brief handful of companies that are going to benefit from this infrastructure bill. And my recommendation for you is take my example that I just gave you with Chargepoint. It is a smaller company that is looking to rapidly grow. And like I said, just getting a little bit piece of that infrastructure bill, the money that is designated toward that specific industry and area, they're going to benefit very well from this. So take a look, leave a comment down below on other companies that you've been watching, especially because, like I said, in August, a lot of these companies had their run up because investors were expecting the bill to get passed back then. And naturally, when everything gets put to the back burner and news kind of cools off, the stock slowly sold off as well. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're going to be investing in. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.